Hey, welcome everybody. Prophecy Spotlight here. Brother Dan Goodwin, your host. Dr. Charles Hiltibidal sitting here. Doc, I think it's 2024.
Yeah.
As of the airing of this, this first, I think this is our first radio of 2024. We want to welcome everybody to the program. And we want to thank everybody that's been here for, some of you have been here for several years. I think we're at 3.5 years now on the program, Doc. And so we want to thank.
Maybe a shade more than that, yeah.
Yeah, we want to, it was June, so June will be 4 years.
Yeah, you're about right.
Yeah. And we're still here. We're still afloat. And the trumpet has not sounded yet.
But I expect it any day.
Yeah, this could be the year, and or not. But we're going to do a show here real soon. It's not going to be this week, Doc, but we're going to talk about the 2030 agenda.
Yeah.
It's big. I've got some more stuff.
The more I study it, the more I realize prophecy, as I've always believed, was not necessarily God necessarily making any of this happen. But it's what the Gentile world is going to do.
Yeah.
And it's bringing about his plan at the same time.
Yeah, and God looked in the future and saw it, and because prophecy is history told in advance.
So the 2030 agenda may be closer to something in prophetic.
I'm starting to think, Doc, it looks like
I hope it's the end. I hope it's the end.
The middle.
No, let's hope it's the yeah, I understand.
No, the middle's better.
Well, no, the end would make us
you're
closer
right.
to be
You're
out of
right.
here is what I'm thinking.
No, I think we've already passed that
yeah,
timeline.
I think we missed
I think we've missed that. So,
but I'm not sure we know what year it really is anyway.
But if the 2030 agenda and what's coming with that,
and
sure looks like what I see at the middle of the
what they're doing. And one of the things we're going to talk about today is leading toward that.
Yeah, education, right?
The education of, especially, not just in America, but Western civilization.
Okay. Well, we want to welcome those that are watching us on YouTube. Many of you are listening via the radio, but we do have a good group that watches us on YouTube. We want to let everybody know you can find us at prophecyinthespotlight.com, and you can find our YouTube channel there. Everything is free. And you can watch all of our programs, the TV programs and these updates, and there's some live streams every week on there now as well. And so we're kicking off the new year, Doc, and let's just, before we get into this, let's just talk a little about, because we did a show recently about what happened in 2023. Mm-hmm. Last week's show was about what's coming in 2024. This week's show on CTN, VTN, and YouTube is going to be about what our plans are for this year, either in both our individual ministries, but generally as our Spotlight ministry. And I've written some things down. I've got some things that I want to bring out in the show.
Here's what I've got planned.
It's blank.
Blank.
Yeah.
I'll tell them why here after a while. But anyway, yeah.
So we one of the things is we're going to continue with CTN, Christian Television Network. We've been with them since the beginning.
Since the beginning.
And
they've been good to us.
They've been good to us, and our crowd has emailed us.
Yep.
People have said, I hope you're staying on CTN. If you leave, we got no other place to watch. We have an audience there, and I think that audience in the last few months has grown. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but...
Well, I think part of it is the times that we're living in. People are looking for answers.
Yeah. And so we are staying on CTN. We are also staying with those of you that watch on VTN, Victory Television Network, in Little Rock, Memphis, and what's all the other towns? I don't remember, but Arkansas.
We'll talk about that in our show today.
Yep. The Arkansas connection. And we're on every Saturday there. We are going to stay there. There's some other things we'll tell you about in the next YouTube clip and in the TV show. I've got some goals and some dreams and some hopes that I want to see us do in the coming year, because as the clock keeps ticking.
Yes, it is.
We're running out of time down here. The Lord's coming soon, and I want us to be busy. I want to do all we can before that trumpet sounds. Mm-hmm. All right, Doc. In today's radio program here and YouTube, we're going to talk about something to do with education, right?
Yeah.
And my goodness, they infiltrated our schools a long time ago.
Well, they started when I was in grade school in the 50s. That's when they started. And now even your progressive people are realizing that it's out of hand.
Yeah. I mean, years ago, it was towns would get their own school. They'd hire a teacher,
Yes.
usually a one-room, started with
Yep.
one-room schoolhouse. They had discipline. They had
Yep.
Bible for English class. And,
Yep.
and
Had
it was
prayer-
localized.
Had prayer. All my years in grade school, we had prayer to start our classes every morning. We had prayer before we ate lunch every
Pledge
day.
of Allegiance.
And we had a prayer at the end of school every day for 8 years.
Yeah.
I'm
Somewhere along the
I'm
line-
telling on my age, I guess, there, but
Yeah, you're old.
it sure don't happen anymore.
Older than dirt. But
But
what happened here, and I don't know if I'm getting ahead of you here, but the government started providing financing
yes,
for the schools. And the schools opened their arms. Yes, we need
they were
that.
in those years. They were local schools. Today they're consolidated schools.
Yeah,
And anytime you consolidate, you lose local control.
yeah. And so what happened is, and it's happened to our Bible colleges too.
Yep.
And not just Bible colleges, but I want to point out that when a Bible college accepts government money, there are strings attached.
There's always a string attached with anything in the government.
Now, I think when it first began, there wasn't much,
No.
but they
Well, here's
got
the
them hooked
thing.
on it. Though.
We now are at a place where we can look backwards and see the incremental steps along the way that's brought us to where today. People right now are saying, what in the world is happening on our universities? They're letting all this anti-Semitism, they're protesting pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas and all of this. And I'm even hearing Christian television programs scratching their heads trying to figure out what's going on. And I can tell you it's simple. These people are none other than the children of the devil. And they're doing what their father does the best,
Yeah.
agitate and lie. And that's
Yep.
what it's all about.
Now, our K through 12 schools is mainly what we want to talk about, I think.
Yeah, but we've lost them.
Yeah. And one reason we've lost them is we've accepted government money.
Yes.
And with government money comes government controls, rules, guidelines.
And with the government control comes the rules by which they have to abide by.
They have to teach certain things.
They have to teach these things. And it used to be reading, writing, and arithmetic.
And here's what happened, Doc, and this happened in our Bible colleges too. They accepted the money.
Yep.
They gave in on some things, but then they started telling them more things they had to do. Yep. They came to a point where they said, well, no, we can't go that far. Mm-hmm. And the government said, well, that's no problem. We just won't write you a check.
We won't give you your
month.
certification.
And the board gets together. Well, wait a minute. We've hired all these teachers. We've built these buildings. We got mortgages.
Yep.
We can't live without that money. They get you hooked on that money, then you can't get out. And that's where we are.
Even here's an article that was today in a paper said the hostile takeover of education in Minnesota. You know, just recently Minnesota got them a new flag.
Yeah, Minnesota's going downhill
Minnesota's
fast.
going, but I'm here to tell you, it's the same problem all over the country.
Yeah.
It's not just Minnesota. But when you start, what started with education was our higher levels, our universities and colleges. That's where they infiltrated and began all of this stuff. So they were teaching the teachers that are going to be the teachers in secondary education and the teachers that's going to be in primary education. So what's happened over the last 70 years is now these universities have allowed all of the liberals come in, all the progressives, and instead of teaching subjects on life and math and science, now they're teaching lessons on cultural things, how to be inclusive. These things are more important. I don't know if I can find it in here, but Minnesota and their present disintegration is what happens when forced immigration takes place. And this is what's happening. Yeah. And so they're complaining about this teacher at Harvard or the president of Harvard. I mean, she's allowed Iranian teachers who are pro-Iran. She's allowed these pro-Palestinian people in there. And so instead of teaching a subject, they've made all kinds of new subjects that you can enter into and get a degree in, and it has nothing to do with education. It has to do with indoctrination.
Yeah.
And as a result, those students that come out of there are now becoming the leader. And you're wondering, why in the world are all of these CEOs and all these corporations going what's called woke today? It's because they got their education in these places. And instead of knowing how to run a company, they know how to be inclusive and acceptance and tolerant and all this stuff, because that's what they taught.
And it's in textbooks.
It is. And it's in the textbooks all the way. Not only that, there's some things that I can't even read here because some of the things that is on a question in Seattle in a high school. Some of the questions in there and the children were failed because they said, yes, this is who a man is, or yes, this is who a woman is. They failed. And when it was brought before the school board, they said, no, this is right, because this is what we're teaching them.
And the question was, can only women get pregnant?
Yeah.
True or false?
True or false?
And,
the other one was something we can't, I didn't even print it off for you because we wouldn't use it, but only a man has, and this kind of thing. And actual, physical, factual truth was graded as an error.
Now, this guy made this statement, and this is on page 2, Doc. The next generation of Minnesota citizens will not only be uninformed, but misinformed. It isn't that they're not teaching arithmetic. They're teaching something that's dangerous.
Exactly. It's very dangerous. And so as a result, you're watching, even now you've got, as we said, we've got the CEO, so to speak, the president at Harvard, and some of these other schools are no different.
How come I keep thinking of that fairy tale, The Emperor Has No Clothes? Everyone has to know this is a lie. You know, only women can have babies. Everyone has to know.
But it all goes back to, Dan, there's one fundamental thing that is the basis of all of this. And I've been saying it for a long time, and I guarantee you I'm right. The fundamental flaw is the acceptance of evolution over creation by Creator.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Because if there's no God, then there's no absolutes. There's
No
right and
absolutes.
wrong. There's no moral value.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so as a result, they think we're evolving. No, we're devolving.
Yeah.
Is what's happening. But it is because they're of their father, the devil. They're lost. There's no ability to see it.
I mean, why is it wrong to steal? It's wrong to steal because God said, "Thou shalt not steal." Why is it wrong to be immoral?
One of the questions was asked just recently was concerning this thing of Hamas and all of that, and they said, well, they had a reason and a right to.
Yeah.
So all of these things are upside down and backwards.
All of my kids, I got 5 kids. We homeschooled every one of them. We did a little bit of Christian school here and there, but mostly homeschool. I would seriously...
I'm serious. You need to have your children out of this educational system.
The public system, you've got to get out of it. I mean, we're way past getting out of it. We needed out of it a long time ago. Yep. And I don't think they're going to fix it. But we're out of time. We sure appreciate everybody that listened in today. And we'll see you next time. But until then, keep your eyes on them skies.